Oi, pessoal, tudo bem? Meu nome é Vitor, eu sou coordenador do educativo e das exposições aqui do Instituto Artium de Cultura. E hoje a gente vai bater um papo com uma atriz que já fez televisão, ela já fez Broadway, ela está fazendo uma minissérie agora com a Kate Winslet. Ela já participou de diversos Broadways como atriz e como playwright também, como escritora. E a gente vai bater um papo aqui com ela e eu tenho certeza que vocês vão adorar. Kate, me conta qual é a sua graduação, onde que você se formou e como começou essa sua carreira de atriz.
My name is Katie Kreisler, and I'm a working actor out of New York City. You know, I'll just tell you a little bit how it sort of started. I knew as a little kid that I wanted to act. And that feeling is still with me. I'm 45. So, you know, I always was involved. I did a little bit of professional work as a kid, just because I knew somebody who knew somebody, and I did some commercials and whatnot. But I always was in an acting class. Wherever, I didn't live in New York City at that time, so wherever there was like a little acting class, I was in it. And then, you know, as time went on, I ended up moving to New York City for other reasons with my family. And, you know, because I was in New York City, I had the opportunity to do more professional work. But my biggest focus was that I wanted to go to college and my education. And so even though I worked a little bit professionally in television and whatnot, as a high schooler, I ended up going to like a regular university and studying, and, you know, I did theater there and majored in theater, and minored in English. And I just wanted like the, you know, college experience. I ended up going to a conservatory after actual college, and I studied at the Juilliard School, which was a game changer for me, in terms of, you know, just being accepted to a place where I could actually like really dive into the craft of acting. And so and then I graduated Juilliard, and I've been, you know, working as an actor ever since then.
Além da sua carreira como atriz, você atua em algum outro campo?
So, besides acting, I also write. What's funny is that I started writing during periods where I wasn't working and I wasn't getting auditions, and it was fun. And it turned out I was kind of good at it. And then I started to feel resentful about it because everyone kept saying, well, you need to write something for yourself. You need to write something. And I kept feeling like, well, I just want to walk into the audition and book it. I don't want to have to write something. Now I feel totally differently, and I really do enjoy writing, and I do enjoy creating. And sometimes you find as an actor in the business that you don't have as much power as you would like. And I now feel very happy and proud to have the outlet and to create my own content.
Me diz uma coisa, você tem uma peça que você estrelou, que foi um monólogo seu. Me conta, foi você que escreveu? Como que foi esse processo?
Yes, I did write this one for myself. It's a story that I had always wanted to tell, about my relationship with my mother. And, you know, I just looked up festivals or a place where I could put up a one-woman show that would, you know, pay for the space. I didn't have to pay for a lot, and there's so many opportunities to do that. Mm-hmm. And so it actually started out as a monologue. And then I kept writing on it. And there's this great little theater in New York City, and they do a festival of one-woman shows and then one-man shows and whatnot. And they, you know, you submit your stuff, and then they give you a couple of nights. They give you a black box theater, and it's yours for the taking. And so I totally took advantage of that. And I first performed it there. And pre-COVID, as a result, I was going to perform it just outside of New York City. And now we're in COVID, so we're sort of on hold with that. But you know, I'm really lucky because I am, you know, pre-COVID to be in a community that gives a lot of opportunities for artists.
Agora me conta pouquinho como é esse processo de audição aí nos Estados Unidos, e eu sei que você faz televisão e teatro. Me conta pouco a diferença entre uma audição para teatro e uma audição para televisão, para shows de televisão.
It's really helpful to have an agent. And to any, you know, young actor out there, that's you want to be seen by somebody who is an agent, because what happens with the agents is that you have somebody, you can also do this, but it's not readily available to you as much. You sort of have to sneak around. But the agents all get what's called breakdowns. And it's like job listings, you know, for actors. And it's also through the union, which is, you know, there is non-union work, but if the whole idea is to get your union card so that you can work in SAG-AFTRA or in equity. So my agent, you know, you want to find somebody that believes in you, and you want to find somebody that believes in you for a long haul. I'm currently with somebody now for the last 10 years, and it's been a very successful relationship. So what happens is, on the breakdown, they get a description, let's say woman in her 40s, could be of any race, and it could be a guest spot on a TV show, and they describe what the character is. And then the agent submits you. And so they send maybe they'll send your reel, maybe they'll send your headshot and your resume. And then they send that to the casting director. And then the casting director looks through all of these things, and they say, yep, this person looks right, this person doesn't look right, blah, 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 blah. And then the casting director will then call the agents and say, we want to see these clients from your agency this day, this, that, da, da, da. Now, this is pre-COVID, but now during COVID, it's happening. It just happens online. Theater auditions are different. Theater auditions are not necessarily, I've never actually gone on tape unless I was across the country, you know, in a different spot, and I couldn't get to the audition. It's got to be face-to-face. You're going to be in the room. You'll get, you know, your audition sides is what they call it, right? Which is a part of the script that you'll be auditioning with. Most of the time, the director is going to be in the room of the play. Sometimes you go in for a pre-screen, which means that if the casting director doesn't know you, they want to read with you first, and then they'll call you back in at another time, and you'll read with the director. So I guess the big difference is, though, is that, you know, it's two different mediums. For television, I like to be off book. I don't like to have the script in my hand. You know, for theater, it's almost impossible to be completely, the audition is more about what would you do if you had the part, but it's not a finished product, right? We want to be able to see that the director can give you notes, you're malleable, you're open, you can take a note and do something different if need be. And usually the scenes are a little more intense, not more intense, but they have got much more to do, whereas sometimes the television auditions are much, much shorter scenes.
Depois que você tem o papel nas mãos, você foi na audição, você conseguiu o papel, como que você se organiza para trabalhar com o diretor? Como que é o seu processo de criação? Pessoal, para quem não sabe, a Kate foi do primeiro elenco de Harry Potter and the Cursed Child na Broadway no primeiro ano. E conta pouquinho pra gente como é que foi.
Harry Potter is a very special situation. So let me put that, we're going to do that in 1 second. In a normal situation, let's say that I booked when I book a part in a play, what I will do prior to the rehearsal period, right? You usually book something and you're not going to start rehearsals for at least a couple of months. So during that time, I read the play several times, and I will do my own like homework, right? So I will read the play, and this is stuff from my training, you know, and I will write down everything that every character says about my character and everything that I say about my character. And then I write down, you know, everything in there that my character says or does in regards to money, sex. And so in that way, I will do my homework. I can't decide and make choices. I don't even like to get off book, you know, to memorize before I go into the first day of rehearsal, because I need to get it in my body. And also there's other people I'm going to be working with, and it's a collaborative effort. And, you know, everybody's doing their homework, and they're going to come together on the first day and say, here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I'm thinking. And then the beautiful process begins. Harry Potter, I remember my agent called me and said, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child is coming to New York. And I said, I don't even know what that is. I never read Harry Potter. I mean, I'd heard of Harry Potter. I didn't know that they had done a show in London. I didn't know that they all won Olivier's. I didn't care. I mean, all due respect. And I was like, okay, are you sure? And I said, isn't it a musical? Because I don't sing. I mean, I think I sing at home, but you wouldn't pay me to sing. And so what ended up happening was she said, why don't you just go and see what it is? And with this, there was a movement audition. So they wanted to see if you could move. And for anyone that has not seen the show, there is a lot of movement. There is music in it. We don't sing. So it was very different from anything I'd ever done before. And then there was an acting audition. And then eventually there was a flying audition. And I'm not, wow. I mean that. So it was every actor, it felt like, in New York, and it was a group audition, which never happened. And you were put in groups of like 15 or 20, and you met with the movement team first. And they took you through different scenarios, different exercises. They showed you a little bit of choreography. And you spent about an hour in a room working with people, coming up with ideas together. And it was, I left and I was like, well, that was a blast. That was so fun. I know nothing about Harry Potter, but I had such a good time, which is always a good thing, right? When you have a good time doing something. Yeah. And so my agent called and said they want to see you again. And they wanted me to read for, you know, certain track. And so I met with John Tiffany, the director, and the movement team again, and producers. And, you know, I read a McGonagall scene. I read a lot of different scenes for the adult women. And again, I don't know from Harry Potter, so I didn't have time to read, you know, the whole canon of Harry Potter. So I asked a lot of people who were big Harry Potter fans to explain who everybody was, and just tried to do the best that I could. And it turns out that the scenes that I got to audition with were fabulous, Harry Potter or not. Like, the writing was so shocking, J.K. Rowling, but the writing was so wonderful that it was really fun to do. So, you know, when I went into the audition, though, they asked me, like, are you a Harry Potter fan? And I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, this is a big job. I'm not going to lie. I said, look, I've never read a word of it. I said, I don't know, but, and they were like, that's okay. That's fine. So I ended up, I think I had to do, man, it was months of auditions. Wow. Like bringing them back, bringing more movement auditions, more acting auditions. And then I was told I was probably going to get the job, but then I needed to go to a warehouse in Queens. That's not going to mean anything to anybody in Brazil, but a huge warehouse. And, you know, just looks like an industrial building. And I was like, what is going on, for a flying audition? And I walked in, and it's this huge room with like 50-foot ceilings, and people are harnessed up and flying. And And so they put me in this harness, and, you know, I'm trying to act like it ain't no thing. This is no problem. This is when someone says to you, do you fly? You say yes. Can you ride a horse? You say yes, and you figure it out. And they just kept going higher and higher and higher. And the harness was so tight. And I was like, oh my God, I might be sick. But I just acted like, hey, no problem. And they taught me how to do different moves. I was like, thanks so much. I left. I literally opened the door. Bye. Thank you so much. Shut the door. And like my knees buckled. I was like, oh my God. But I was like, look, if I got the job, I'd be happy to do it. Yeah. Turns out I did get the job. I did not actually have, my track did not involve flying. So it was okay. You know, when I did book the job, I found out then that I was going to be ensemble and I was going to be understudying a bunch of different parts. So all I could do was just read the Harry Potter books. And then I just treated the play like a play. And I did not, you know, I read books, but I did not use the books completely for everything that was going to be happening in the play. At some point, just as an actor, I had to just use the script as the script. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
And the journey began.
Me conta agora um pouco da peça, sendo Harry Potter ou não Harry Potter, como que você trabalha com as diferentes frentes, que é figurino, cenário, diretor, como que você interage, como que é essa sua relação com eles?
I think, you know, in a successful situation, everybody's got to stay open, right? You know, you're walking into somebody else's vision. First of all. So I know earlier I talked about how the actor has to come in with their own ideas. Yes. But at the end of the day, you also have to remember that, you know, you're walking into, like I said, somebody else's vision. So in a perfect situation, which was pretty much Harry Potter, you walk in and you're shown what the costume designs look like. And you get the feeling like, yes, this feels right. This feels right. Now, I have been in, you know, productions or have worked in television and film where they show you the costume or what they're thinking, and, you know, you're not thinking the same thing. So you try this is just costumes, let's say. You try it on, you look at it, and you might say, you know what, I wonder if, and if they're open to it, awesome. And chances are they are, because they want you to be comfortable in it, mm-hmm. so that you can do your job. If they're not, you got to make it work. That's how that works. But, you know, I've been lucky enough to for most of my career to work with some really amazing, talented, open people. You know, even as far as like the set design, same thing. I mean, they show you the first day of rehearsal, they build mini sets and they show you exactly what it's going to look like. And that's always so much fun to see. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, as far as the director goes, like that's probably the most important relationship. Because you want it to be a collaborative thing. The director wants to get the best performance out of you, and the way to do that is for the actor to feel safe, right? So I think if that's in place, you will come to a natural decision on what the choice is going to be. It may change, but I think when the director allows the actor and the actor respects the director as being really the person in charge, that's where the magic can happen.
Agora me conta, qual foi o seu maior desafio na sua carreira?
That's a good question. It's a big question. There's a couple of different things. I think the biggest challenge is what I spoke about before, is checking in, knowing yourself well enough, mm-hmm. and making sure that feeling that you got when you fell in love with acting is still there. And how to keep that alive. I mean, you are it looks like on the outside, it's just yes and glamour and we work all the time and, you know, it's just this like really shiny career. But really, we're depressed, suicide. No, I'm kidding. But like, it's a difficult business, and you get told no a lot. And I think the biggest challenge is keeping a sense of yourself, and that just because you get rejected, that doesn't, you gotta have a thick skin. I mean, those are all so cliched, but it's true. If you want to do it, you'll find a way to do it. So I think it's just keeping yourself surrounded by really good people, people that want the best for you. I think it's about, like with auditioning, it's like I put everything I can into the audition, and then when I walk out of the audition, I throw the script away and I get on, and I move on with my day. Because if I stay locked into every audition, I mean, I'd never get over it. Mm-hmm. I think that's the biggest challenge. The other challenge, I think, too, and this is different for everybody, but my personal challenge is just getting the opportunity to show what you can really do. Because, listen, I've done a lot of TV where, I've played smaller roles, and, it's like a little bit of what I could do it in my sleep. But getting the opportunity professionally, which is why I write my own stuff, but to really sink your teeth into something and really showcase what it is that you can do is the big challenge.
Agora me conta se você tem planos para 2021 ou para frente por causa do corona. O que você tem planejado?
So let's see. I have this show coming out called Mayor of Easttown, which will be on HBO and either the end of May or the beginning of April. And it stars Kate Winslet, who also executive produces it and or produced it. And I'm really excited about that. Just the show in general, I'm excited to see how it turns out. I could not put the script down when I was, reading it, and that's always a good sign. So that'll be coming out. And otherwise, I'm just auditioning right now and waiting to hear on a few things. For me, it's TV, just because of COVID. But I got to tell you, I really miss being in a rehearsal room. I miss sitting around a table. I miss going through the script. I miss being up on my feet. I miss the laughter of and the jokes and the community that only a rehearsal room can inspire. Mm-hmm. But I think the next thing that I'm going to be doing is television.
Agora me fala um conselho que você daria para jovens atores ou atores que já estão na estrada há algum tempo, para incentivá-los a continuar nessa carreira.
So, for the young actor that's interested, I would say get in class. That's what I would say. Get into an acting class, no matter what. I don't care if it's one guy and like 3 people and a goat, like get into the class, because it's like going to the gym. You have to work. I still go to class. You have to work out the muscles. And, there's a difference between raw talent, which can get you very far, and technique. And when you are cast in a play, you have to be able to adjust to speaking to 1,000 people and moving your body in a way that 1,000 people can understand what's happening. So that requires training. And anyone that thinks otherwise is going to get stopped short. Maybe that the raw talent will help on one job, but who says you can do it again? And if it's a totally different character, right? So we need to be in class and we need to remain open and teachable, because that's the other thing as actors, right? What we're responding to as the audience member is the vulnerability of the actor. They're being open. What's going to happen? What are they feeling? And great acting is from vulnerability and listening. So if you think that you know how to act and you know and you don't need to be taught anything, chances are you're going to probably end up being a really boring performer to watch. So I would say study. Yeah. If you feel like there is nothing else that you can do, If you feel like every time you go see live theater, you want to be up on that stage and playing with them, then you have to do this. And like I said before, you know, physically, mentally, emotionally, that is important to keep yourself fit, right? Physically fit, spiritually fit, emotionally fit. You have to have your feet on the ground. Being dangerous and does not make you interesting. Living a dangerous lifestyle does not make you a good artist at all, right? It's actually the opposite.
No seu conceito, qual é a diferença de uma pessoa famosa ou de um ator de sucesso?
I think you have to always be in love with the art. I think you have to always be in love with the literal act of acting. The celebrity and the movie star part is certainly very shiny, and you know, everybody wants it. I think you will run into trouble. I know you will run into trouble if that is what you are after only. If you are after being famous and you're after being a celebrity and whatever you think that lifestyle will bring to make you happy, turn around. So I would just say, if you're after the celebrity of it only, you're going to run into a problem. I just want to say thanks, guys, so much. This was so fun. I'm happy to chat anytime. And thank you for watching.